Hello guys! So, for today we're gonna visit the police museum.
Let's go.
But wait. We're gonna find if there are some mistakes over there in the translation area.
Hello everyone. During our visit of the Museo Naval de la Armada de Colombia, we found several exhibition signs that include translation from Spanish to English.
However, many of these translations have mistakes. Some small, some very serious. And in this presentation, we are going to explain what those errors are, why why they happen, and how the English version should actually be right.
The first subject was the compás de puntas secas. The Spanish text explained that this tool is used to manifold distance on nautical charts and that it has puntas secas because it doesn't have any pencil lead.
But the English translation say dry ends are talk because it has mine. This sentence doesn't make sense. They also translate mina as mine, which mean a gold or gold mine, not a pencil tip.
There was also a literal translation of puntas secas as dry ends, which is not the technical term. The correct term in English is pointed dividers.
Used to measure distance on nautical shore, they are called pointed dividers because they don't have pencil tips.
The next sign describes the sextant, which is used to take precants and determine position using the stars and the sun. The translation here was actually the best one. It's clear and mostly correct, used slightly unnatural. We have an improved version that is used to take precants and determine position by observing the stars and the sun.
This sign have some of the most serious translation issues. For example, it say the ship was built by Polish artisans, but in this context, artilleros means ship builders, not soldiers.
There was also a very strange mistake. The Spanish word bulbo was translated as tassel, which means a decorative hanging string. Nothing to do with a ship. The correct term is bulbous bow.
Parts of the translation didn't make sentence grammatical in either, like a gap that gives faster forms.
The correct version is built by Polish shipbuilders. It belongs to Colombian merchant fleet. It is 300 meters long and 40 meters wide. Its hull ends in bulbous bow that preserves water resistance in increased speed. The next sign was about the ARC Convenience, a Dutch-built oil tanker.
The translations say from Dutch manufacture and brings to Colombia in 1965, which is grammatical incorrect.
It also had mistakes like capacity 2. Dutch-built tanker brought to Colombia in 1965. It has a capacity of 136,000 barrels of oil. It's 154 meters long, 19 meters wide, and has a draft of 9 meters.
The last sign we analyze have multiple problems, including even worse like defined spelling mistakes and incorrect grammar.
For example, it say watch over the Colombian coast with the spacing errors and no capitulation of the Colombian. It also say it canon, but in English it must be cannons.
German bill designed to patrol the Columbia coast. It is equipped with cannons for defense in case of an attack.
Overall of the museum's English translation were too literal, grammatical incorrect, or used the word vocabulary.
Good translation is not just changing words, it's required to understand the meaning, the context, and the technical terms. This helps international visitors understand the information clearly and professionally.
So guys, welcome to the Police Museum. Let's see if there are some mistakes in the translation section in the English part. So guys, as you can see, there are some mistakes over here. If you can read this text, these vehicles move in the street as a patrol car and prison carriage. However, it sounds a bit unnatural. The correct way would be these vehicles move through the streets. Unfortunately, that's not the only one. Just look at the next sentence. In this vehicle transported individuals when they committed an infraction. Alright, it sounds understandable, but to sounds for sounding non natural, we should say they transported individuals who had committed an infraction. I will explain you why. Instead of repeat the subject vehicle, we could replace it with they for sounding more natural. They transported individuals who had committed an infraction. We must use the past perfect because of it's something that happened before another action. So, those ones would be my corrections.
This exhibit is also on the first floor of the museum. Each one has its own explanation. Let's see what other errors we can find in this part. Okay, so first, the recruitment director of the National Police mission is. This sounds strange in English. In literal English, it will be the mission of the recruitment director of the National Police is. The second mistake, choosing the best human talent in the country. Although it is exists in English, it sounds too literal. It's more natural to say the best candidates or the best staff. Third, police service specialties. That sounds strange. In formal English, you usually say police specialties, specialist police units, or different areas of police service. Okay, we found three mistakes in the explanation of the mission of the recruitment department. Let's see how the correction looks. Well, now let's continue with the second floor.
Good morning. In this part today we are at the Police National Museum, which we are looking for some translation mistakes. So here it shows a weapon that was used in the Anglo-Nepalese War. Then here we have three mistakes we can find and was thought to be used and carried by. That is incorrect. Why? Because we need to add the pronoun it. That is going to be and it was thought to be used and carried by. The next phrase is the knife in the jungle shelved symbolizes straight battery, and sacrifice. It is not incorrect at all, but we can create the one that it sounds a little bit more natural, right? So, for example, on the jungle shield, the knife symbolizes strength, bravery, and sacrifice. It's a version that is going to be more natural and is going to be more clearly for the people who is going to read the part of the weapon. Then we have the next phrase, and it was also utilized in the First and Second World Wars. Well, in this part is not incorrect at all, too, but we can change the word for used, right? Because utilized is a word that is not common at all, and it sometimes is used for formal writings, but in this case it's going to be sound more natural with the word used. That is going to be, and it was also used in the First and Second World Wars.
In this part, we can see three very simple translation errors, but they are very important to take into account. The first is removing technique that is together, but it must be separate. Although eradicating will be better, which is the correct verb for crabs. On the other hand, we corrected the translation of control and implementation.
Well, the last mistake is in this one. The first is a drone specific for strategic mission about the extortion and kidnapping. But in this paragraph, please show this. In this sentence, look at this in the first United Arab vehicle. There isn't a bird in that space. In that case, it was used as tactical and strategic support.
Translation is a language that interprets the word where each person captures the soul, the emotion, and the deep intention of a message. In every corner of the planet, there is a thing, a meaning, and it is the cultural richness that shapes the feeling behind every word. From our first steps, language becomes a translation from a baby sound to the bursting voices of a concert. Translation is a style of phonemes and meanings that each person interprets throughout their life. We thank the Police Museum, who were very kind during our visit and helped us a lot with the text and hallway resources. Thank you all for your attention during the video. I'm Valentina.